Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope everyone's had a wonderful week. As you guys can probably tell by the title today, I'm going to be giving you some fantasy recommendations with some romance subplots because if you guys know me, you know that I'm obsessed, and I'm not joking. Like, if anything has fantasy with a romance subplot, I will be the first one to buy it. Like, you guys can probably tell, like, I'm obsessed with that stuff. And so I am going to give you guys some of the best fantasy recommendations that I've read in a while. Curated the perfect stack for you guys. Oh shit. So the first book that I have for you guys is The Prison Healer. This is like a very low fantasy, I would say. So if you're new to fantasy and you want to get into fantasy, this is a perfect book for you. The book follows Kiva Meriden, who was arrested alongside her father to be put in one of the deadliest prisons called Zalendov. And during this time, her father became like the prison healer. He was like a doctor, and she was like his student, and she would be training with him. And after some time, when her father got sick, she became the prison healer. During this time, Kiva meets like a lot of inmates. She meets a lot of people who are sick, etc. And it's her task to take care of them. And all throughout this time, she's starting to lose hope as to like how or when she can get out. But after some time, the rebel queen comes in, and alongside the rebel queen comes a message, which is keep her alive, we are coming to get you both out. And during this time, Kiva has to keep the rebel queen alive, and to do that, she takes on the rebel queen's trial, which is trial by the elements. So if you guys liked Avatar, you will really like this so much. This was awesome, but not only did the plotline like really like intrigue me, the romance subplot was absolutely amazing, because during this time, as Rebel Queen comes in, a few days before, a prisoner called Jaren comes in, and Jaren isn't very charming. Jaren is also very sick, and Kiva needs to take care of him, and she gets attached to him, even though she has rules as to never get attached to like prisoners because they die really quick, because it's a deadly prison. And so, you know, Kiva has to navigate through the trials. She has to navigate through her feelings with like Jaren, and she has to navigate through different friendships. And honestly, it's such a wonderful book. It's like, in this book, there's like starts of found family, and I love found family. I love anything with found family, and I really love this book. And if you guys like want to get into it, I would say yes. Low fantasy, get into it. Number 2 is Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. This is a wonderful read. I absolutely am like in love with it and obsessed with it. If you're new to fantasy and you want to get into fantasy and you don't want like magical systems all up in your face, this is a wonderful read, and I would definitely say go into it because it's very simple and easy to follow. Basically, it follows Kazi of Brightmist, who belongs to one of like the queen's elite forces of like guards, etc. And she's on a mission to go into this town, which is apparently owned by this outlaw family who claim that they were the first family to live here and to be in the area of like the Queen's Kingdom, and they refuse to give over like their control of the area, which is like quite problematic for the Queen's control. And so Kazi, who was formerly a thief, goes into this town, and she's trying to figure like the family, the town out. And during this time, she runs into like the leader of the town, who is like this young guy who's very hot, by the way. And without knowing who he is, she holds him under her knife, and she asks him if he knows who she is. And that's when they have to save face, and they have like they go through a bunch of things, and then they have to basically fake date for the town to save both of their reputations. And they both have secrets, they're both trying to figure each other out, and it's just absolutely wonderful because there's like a lot of push and pull. There's a lot of like, do I like him, are we just pretending? There's a lot of angst. Very nice, very amazing book. Next up, we have Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. This book is absolutely wonderful. I'm not even joking, guys. Like, this is one of those books that I bought because of Book Talk, and like I went into it pretty blindly. Like, I understood like the premise of it, but I was so thoroughly surprised. It's wonderful. I still haven't read the 3rd book yet because I'm on a book buying ban, but I can't wait. So this is like an enemies to lovers. It's absolutely wonderful. It follows Emilia, who is basically a witch alongside her twin sister, who gets murdered like right in the beginning, and Emilia is really distraught, and you know, she wants to know what happened. And so she does the one thing that her family's always like argued against, and she accidentally summons like one of the devils of hell, and she doesn't realize that this is actually a prince of hell called Wrath, because in this book each of like the 7 deadly sins is like one of the princes of hell, and they all rule over hell together. And so during this time, she and Wrath then, you know, start working together to find out who murdered Emilia's twin sister. And you know, there's a lot of secrets, there's a lot of intrigue. She hates him, he hates her. They both have their reasons, because witches and devils don't get along, especially because of like the historical like enemies. Like, you know, like historically they've been enemies for the longest time, so they're like, these two are like going against all odds, secretly meeting up. constantly looking for the killer who killed her sister. And honestly guys, I can't, like, this book has so much and more. It has enemies to lovers, it has like hurt and comfort trope, it has so many things, and like it's real. Sorry, I don't know why I sniffed my book, but yes, I love this book so much. Next up is Defy the Night by Bridget Kemper. This is a relatively new book. I would say this came out last year, if I'm right. It was very hyped on Book Talk when it came out, but I haven't seen a lot of people talk. I don't know how to explain it, but like, yeah. Basically this follows Tessa, who is like this outlaw. She wears a mask. It's kind of like a Robin Hood like retelling, I would say. So basically she wears a mask, and you know, she distributes like medicine all across like her town. She lives right next to the castle where there's like these two princes who are absolutely horrible and everyone hates them. But she doesn't do this all alone. She has this other guy whose face she's never seen, and he's called Wes. And can I just say Wes and, you know, Tessa are then like thrust into this back and forth where they're constantly like disobeying the law. They don't know who the other is, but they're also fighting for their feelings for each other. And after like a lot of things that happen, they realize it's not safe to do this anymore, and there's a lot of back and forth. And I really don't know how to explain it, except for the fact that because there's so much in the plot that happens that if I tell you, it's gonna give away like the plot, you know what I'm saying? But if you guys like political intrigue, if you guys like castles and princes and Robin Hoods and like just savior complex, etc., and all of that, like definitely go into this, because it's like an allies to friends to lovers-ish to enemies to friends again to lovers. It's like a wonderful book. Like the character arc, the character development and everything, like, you know, the whole, are you really morally gray, or do I think like, are you really morally gray? It's just wonderful. I really love this book so much. The second book is out. I haven't read it yet. Again, I'm on a book buying ban, but yes, everyone should read this. Next up is The Savage Song by W.E. Schwab. Okay, so basically this is an urban fantasy, and for those of you who don't know what an urban fantasy is basically like a fantasy set in like our world. So the setting is going to be very similar to like just going outside, right? So it's not going to be like back in the day, like this is in the 1800s, etc. Like, you know, all of the books that I recommended, they have their own systems, they have their own worlds, but this is like set on Earth, etc. So basically this follows two rival gangs. So the city is divided into two because it has monsters and it has like gangsters. And basically Kate Harker and August Flynn are like the heirs of the two leaders of the gangs. It's very similar to These Violent Delights, which I will suggest in a while, but basically August is sent to the school that Kate goes to spy on her, and after like a series of circumstances and a bunch of accidents, they both realize that, oh shit, we need to work together because everyone's out for us. And so Kate and August start working together, because August, by the way, is a monster and Kate isn't. But they start working together, and they like go through like this alliance where they need to get out of like the area alive. It's very hard to do that. So yeah, this is a wonderful book. It's an urban fantasy. I love urban fantasies, and just everything about this book is absolutely wonderfully done. If you guys have enemies to lovers, and if you guys really like lyrical and poetic writing, I would say definitely go into this book, because it's just, W.E. Schwab has a way of writing things that I honestly don't think anyone can come near to like the way that she writes things. Like obviously people can, like I'm just saying, like this book, however, is just very lyrically written, and I just don't know how to explain it, but it's wonderful from beginning to end, and I'm obsessed with it. Next up is We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal. This is also an enemies to lovers. Realizing that that's a problem, I really need to like get over that. But basically, this follows Zafira, who's dressing up as the hunter, who dresses up as a man to get like food, etc., and protect her village, which is a very small village where there's like a curse and magic is lost. So basically, after a bunch of time, Zafira decides that she wants to go and get magic back into her town, and she wants to undo this curse. So she sets out as the hunter to like undo the curse. And as she's on a mission on the other side of like the town, like in the kingdom, the king realizes that there's a person who is threatening his security and his control over the people. So he sends out his son, who's called the Prince of Death, Nasir, to kill the hunter. And as Nasir gets to Zafira and he tries to kill her, he realizes she's a girl. And during this time, they start like working together to get the magic back. And there's a constant push and pull. There's a constant like, shit, I should really hate you, but I kind of don't, and I really need you to stay with me until like the end of this mission. This book has a wonderful fan family. I'm obsessed with this book. It's not a slow burn. A lot of people are like, it's a slow burn, but they want each other pretty quick in the book, I will say this. But it has, again, it also has very lyrical like dialogues. I love the dialogues of this book. Like, they're absolutely wonderful. I can't even, guys. Like, it's just some of the things he says are like so romantic, and also it has like Arabic like folklore and like intertwined into it. So there's like a lot of Arabic words in it, like ruhi, etc., which like I'm obsessed with that stuff. Like, if someone's speaking in a different language and calling you a term of endearment like in their mother tongue, I'm sold. I'm sold. Take me. But like, yes, wonderful book. I think everyone should read this. Next up, the one, the only, A Darker Shade of Magic by E. Schwab. Again, this is an amazing book. Like, I can't recommend this enough. Like, I think if you want to get into like I don't know if this is going to count as like high fantasy, but yeah, I would say it's like medium fantasy. So basically this follows the area of London, except there's 4 Londons and they all are like lying in parallel universes. They all have their own thing. So there's Grey London, which is like our London. It doesn't have any magic. It's very simple, very normal and mundane. Then there's White London, which has a bunch of magic and it's ruled by like the Dane twins. There's Red London, which is where Kel belongs to. That's where like magic is like running free, and there's like a lot of magic, and there's a lot of elemental magic, so everyone has their own element, and the kingdom is flourishing. And then there was a Black London, and it doesn't like exist anymore because of something like a huge accident that happened, and magic went like haywire over there. Basically, Kel is one of the few people who has control over all of the elements, and that makes him like an ambassador. So he's an Antari, so he can go into the different worlds as an ambassador for the king. He loves going to Grey London, and as he goes to Grey London, he runs into this thief called Lila Bard, and she tries to con him, but it doesn't work out. And when he comes back to Red London, he realizes Lila followed him, and that's when their problems start getting like crazy. And during this time, they realize to save magic, they both will have to work like with each other, even though they hate each other. And it's just a wonderful book. It's like enemies to lovers, and it's like a forced alliance. Wonderful book. Like, I can't recommend this enough. I'm obsessed with it. This is a trilogy, and its spin-off is coming soon, and I'm not joking when I say every time V.E. Schwab posts like a small quote from the spin-off, I lose my mind and I eat that shit up, because I will pay everything I have to read the spin-off right now, but don't know when it's coming. I love this book so much. I remember the first line. Kel wore a very peculiar coat. Kel wore a very peculiar coat. Banger. Last paperback book that I'm going to recommend is Legendborn. This is one of the best, if not the best, fantasies out there, and I genuinely cannot recommend like this enough. Like, I think everyone in their life needs to experience Legendborn, because this book is just so beautifully done. I'm not even joking. So basically, this is like a King Arthur retelling. Okay? Forgets what language I'm speaking in. After her mother dies in an accident, Bree remembers that something happened, and her memory's kind of wonky of that night. So when she goes into like this very rich boarding school where apparently her mother went as well, she's trying to feel closer to her mom, she runs into like this group of people, and she realizes they're using magic. And when one of them sees her, they try to tamper with her memories. It doesn't work though, because Bree is like, I know what you did. What are you doing? Like, are you trying to trick me? I remember. Are you normal? And then she finds out that these people belong to like the secret magic society in her school. And so, since she can see magic, since she remembers, she also enlists in this society. And during this time, she's like uncovering secrets. She's trying to find out what happened on her mom's, like the day her mom died. She's trying to understand like where she comes from. And just the commentary in this book is just so wonderfully done. And so romance is a subplot, it is a love triangle, but this book is so much more than just the romance in the book. Like, it's the commentary on like how race and history are like intertwined, and how Bree's like, there's constantly this talk of how she's like, my history's been erased, and all of these white people in here, like all of these rich white guys, they know like where they come from like ages ago. And there's me, who I just don't know where like I come from. I don't know where my history is. I don't know who my ancestors are, because their names have constantly been erased. And it's just such an amazing book. The Legendborn reveal themselves as like the descendants of King Arthur's knights, and there's like a magical war coming, and Bree's like caught in between, and she needs to like understand how far will she go to get the truth, and how far will she go to like understand what happened to her mom. And so it's just a wonderful book. Next up is Foul Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong. I'm obsessed with this book. You guys have seen me talk about this book. So basically, this book follows Rosalind and Orion, and they're both spies. They're both nationalist spies in Shanghai during a time where like Japan is taking over, and they're all like very anti-Japan, anti-imperialism. And so even though they dislike each other, they're set on a mission together, and they need to like marry each other to pose as like a married couple and go spy on this like company. And during this time, you know, there's a lot of like people who are dying. They need to figure that out. They need to figure out like the Japanese. They need to figure out the communists, etc. And it's just a wonderful book. Like I can't recommend this enough. It's like a dislike to lovers. It's like a forced alliance, and it's just wonderfully done. If Chloe Gong knows how to write, like Chloe Gong just knows how to deliver all the time. I'm obsessed with her writing. The last book that I'm going to suggest is Only a Monster by Vanessa Lin. I'm obsessed with this book. Like, if you guys have heard me talk, I don't talk about this too much, but when I read it, I was obsessing over it a lot. So basically, this follows Joan, who is like this girl who's going to London to live with her mom's family for the summer, and she's really excited because, you know, she loves her mom's family. They're really fun, they're really funky, they're really weird. But when she gets there, there's like an accident, and she finds out that her mom's family isn't just like, you know, eccentric. They're not just like weird, they're monsters. And this accident leaves her like in a lot of turmoil, and so she realizes she needs to use the powers like that her mom's family has, that she's been passed down to, that she didn't know she had, and she needs to then work to go back in time and find a timeline where she can reverse this accident. But in order to do that, because she's new and she has no one to guide her, she runs into this guy called Aaron, and Aaron is belonging to a family that is her family's like very long living like rivals, right? They hate each other, they're enemies, they don't like each other, their parents hate each other, their grandparents hate each other, their like cousins hate each other. And so Joan and Aaron need to go back in time, and they need to find a timeline where they can reverse this and fix what's happening. And all the while, she's falling in love with this guy, but she also has feelings for this other guy, Nick, who's kind of responsible for the accident. And so she's trying to juggle her feelings for both of these guys, and it's just wonderfully done. It has time traveling, it has like different times, monsters. It's like very pro-villain, anti-hero. So if you guys like villain getting the girl, I would say definitely go for Only a Monster. It's like wonderfully done, and I'm absolutely obsessed with this book. And the ending, I remember when I like finished this book, I sat there like this, and I was like, shit, what just happened? I can't wait for February, because that's when Never a Hero comes out, and I'm counting the days down until that book comes out. I can't wait. Alright, so that's all for today's video. I really hope you guys stuck by and you guys really enjoyed these book recommendations, because I loved giving these book recommendations. I loved curating this list of books, and I hope you guys found new books that you guys haven't seen and you will be taking them away. But yes, if you guys like this video, please leave a like, please comment, please subscribe. I will be reading all your comments. I will be replying to as many as I can. And yeah, I will see you guys next week. Bye.